All right. How's everybody doing? So this is Art Banaka. A couple of days ago, I had the chance to have a nice conversation with several individual on BigJ's platform. Shout out to SKC, Joe, and Arthur. The cool thing about it though is like even though we didn't agree on a lot of issues as far as how we should prioritize life in a sense on how we, who do we involve in our circles and whatnot. But the conversation was respectful and it was needed for others to actually hear, to which you can agree or disagree with someone, but still approach the conflict with respect. And of course, that shit was ruined because someone decided to actually flash their junk on the screen. None of these individuals I mentioned, but someone who actually knew that came through the channel. Big J had allowed accidentally, and then the motherfucker decided to ruin the whole conversation. So Big J had to put the conversation on private. Anyway, um, one of the discuss as we were discussing things, and which brought me to this quote: "The journey of 1,000 miles starts with a step forward." Because when we are actually looking at the state of the community which we belong in, and we may not be happy with the way things are at the moment. You know, I'm not really happy with the situation in Haiti, which is this is my community. This is what I am trying to, and put my vision forward on the community which I care about. And I believe Arthur is the same way, Joe is the same way, so on and so forth. And one on the discussion that we were having is on where which me and Joe and Arthur didn't really agree was how to prioritize certain aspect of our lives. And me and SCK, we were pretty much on the same page as far as family. I believe family is the most important step in order for you to actually build a functioning community. And where Joe and Big J were saying that, well, but not everybody have that. So then therefore should we exclude them because they don't have they don't have the traditional family value or the traditional family dynamic. So who are we to actually exclude them from what we're trying to build? And I understand where they're coming from, right? And with Arthur, I do understand his frustration because as men, right, especially men of vision, we look for purpose in life. We look for something to actually put our energy and to create something, to build something that is long lasting, something that is going to be there long after we're gone. And sometimes when we have those vision and then we have certain criticism that kind of go against what we're trying to build, then we may take it personal. Like, for example, I know there are a lot of Haitians that ain't about shit. I know there are a lot of Haitians that only seek to destroy. However, I still have a vision of a better Haiti. I still have a vision of a greater Haiti. So therefore, any sort of argument that can counteract my vision, I might take it personal, right? But I have come to the conclusion to which where I believe my focus and my energy can be better or of better use, or that can be better, that has a greater effect. So this is where the exclusion aspect comes in handy, Whereas not everybody can be saved. You cannot help those who don't want to help themselves. All we could do for the most part is actually provide some of the knowledge and some of the example to which others can be aspired to. And then they could then break the cycle from their own struggle, from their own family trait. However, trying to then pull everybody out because it's like, hey, you come with me, you come with me, you come with me. And what tends to happen is that you're gonna end up having a lot of dead weight that was actually gonna drag everybody, the rest of the people down until, it's like the crab in the bucket mentality. Right. And when me and SCK were saying about how important family is, right? And Arthur was saying that, well, it's like that's not feasible in a sense where it doesn't have to be that way. Just because someone it doesn't have the traditional family, doesn't mean that they're not worthy. And that is, I mean, maybe I'm misinterpreting what he said, and if I do, I apologize. But what we mean by that is, okay, our we we cannot be responsible for which environment that we were born in, right? We are not responsible for our parents. We are not responsible for our parents' mistakes. But the best we could do is actually learn from our parents' mistakes and then to then create our own mistakes, but as well as learn from it. So when we're talking about how the Black community as a whole is disenfranchised, and then we're trying to compare where we are with other nations, with other culture. But the comparison that we need to make is comparing things with ourselves, where we were 20 years ago, where we were 40 years ago, and then where we are now. So if we're looking at it this way, okay, if 20 years ago and then now we're still in the same type of struggle, we're still in the same mindset, then we have to ask ourselves, then what are the actions that we are taking that is giving us the same result? And one of the things that me and CK we point out is the family value. It's not there. As if we're gonna compare ourselves to other culture, then we also have to compare them with the strong family value which they have in their culture. So if we don't have that yet, then why not? You know, and dysfunction can be regarded as something that is an addiction. So therefore, if you are comfortable with where you are at the moment, right? Even though it's not working for you. So then it's easier to now try to actually find out all the loopholes that would get you to the result which you want without having to change anything of what you're doing at the present because it's comfortable. It is comfortable to actually have, you know, one or two, to have two baby mamas. It is comfortable to actually have um your income stream going to two or three different households because that's the way it has always been. That's the way we see things as have been from our parents or from our previous generation. And we're comfortable with that. We're comfortable of actually doing certain fuckeries and then hoping that, well, if I tried it differently, then maybe that might work. Maybe it might, maybe it might not. But however, the what me and SCK was saying is, how can we lead a community when we cannot even lead our own household? Issue starts with our house. Issue starts with ourselves. The discipline that we need to require in order for us to elevate our community must start with ourselves. And then once we have a handle on our own household and our own character, once we have a discipline or a moral stand on what we need to do, what we will not do to another human being in order to get ahead, once we have that mindset, then we can branch out and actually start connecting with other people with similar mindset, with other people that have certain principles to which we can build things together. I cannot be convinced that I'm gonna start a business with someone that one has, multiple baby mamas, right? Two, that has so many frictions with the law or whatever the case may be. Because to me, then you are not an asset to what I'm trying to build. You then become a liability. Because to me, all I would say is like, you gotta get shit in order first. Because the last thing I would need is, let's say that we create a business together, right? But then you have, let's say, two, three baby mamas that do not have any sort of principles that would come through at the job that which we created, at the business which we created, and actually will start some shit, right? Or better yet, let's say that then, these female will take you to court and then to actually increase your child support. So then therefore that then take away from our assets that we're building together. Which is why when it's easier to actually try to build with other family men. I'm not saying that it's impossible to build with people that doesn't have any family or that actually have, you know, multiple family or concubine and stuff like that, with kids that is, out of wedlock type of situation. I'm not saying that is impossible, but it becomes more of a risk. So if you have in certain economic project, isn't it the whole point is to actually make sure that you decrease a lot of these risk factors? And yeah, and this is the part where you might say that, well, what about divorce? That is a fair point. Because just because you get with someone that has, that are family men and stuff like that, if they're going through a divorce, doesn't mean that that's not going to affect the that's not going to affect the equity of the company which you build with that person. You know, so there's a lot of factors that come into play. That's why you do things to protect yourself, such as LLC and so on and so forth. But this is just the example of it is those who are family men, they have a different mindset than those who still out there chasing tail, right? And it's the the mindset of people that's trying to build something better for their family. Then they are more focused. They have a more of a drive that is not always founded in people that are not serious yet. So as far as you, Arthur, like, I really like your personality because to me you have that drive, right? And then you have that focus which you want to elevate your people to a better plateau, and I respect that. Because see, you are what the face of black society need. You are the people that others, the youth, should look up to. And I understand where when we actually have this type of discussion and then we are talking about this dysfunction of black society, and you saying that, well, these are a minority, they have the loudest voice because we give them that power. No, that's not true. They have the loudest voice because they try to destroy they are trying to destroy what is actually working because they could not obtain the principles that actually make black society great. What I mean is like principle, family values, um, the mind of a builder, discipline. And a lot of these dysfunctional people, they get on YouTube and they start attacking those who were able to sacrifice today for better tomorrow because they didn't have that discipline. Like, for example, they will shit on people that are in interracial marriage, or they will even shit on people with regular marriage because they might be biracial, or they will shit on people that actually have regular marriage and stuff like that, or like good foundation, but because um married men are simps, whatever the fucking excuse is, they will then continue to that. So the fight is a fight for ideology because a lot of these kids, they don't listen to old heads. They don't listen to people that actually, try to show them something better, right? So then when they go online, they try to get entertained. So they're listening to these goofy ass dudes that's only there to, like, make a mockery of themselves, make a mockery of what black people is. And one of the questions that I asked you guys was, does life imitate art or does art imitate life? And you said it's both. That is true. So then what we consume has has an effect on how we react into the real world. Case in point, if you grew up just listening to hip hop, listening to negativity of hip hop, right? Bitches, hoes, and clothes, and I'm a gangster, blah, blah, blah. And then you grew up in that type of environment, you grew up with that type of mindset. And whenever you get yourself in a conflict, a lot of time the vision that popped into your head is you seeing yourself as a gangster, you seeing yourself as one of your favorite rapper, you seeing yourself as this Al Capone type of figure to which you want to go out gun blazing or you want to do certain shit, even though it might becomes like a caricature of those real gangsters, but still you try to emulate that effect nonetheless. But what if we then start to promote the good side of black society, the good side, the good example of black folks? Yeah, we could point out the rappers, we could not point out to the ballers, but not everybody's like what 1% of people that actually can make it to that type of industry that would actually be generating millions. What about those type of industries which you can make a lot of money and feed your family? Yeah, it might not be as glamorous as being a rock star or a pop star or a baller, you know, a footballer or an artist. Yeah, but what about being a plumber? What about being an electrician? What about being an accountant? What about being an IT tech? What about in those who are investors? All these things we could show these kids like, hey, listen, you hate white people so much. Guess what? I'm gonna show you how to hustle. You can actually invest in the stock market, the same drugs that fuck up white America, and then you make money off of it the same way that they did to us in the crack era. We can approach it that way. Make your money, man. There are ways to hustle beside being in the street corner. There are ways to actually, intelligence is sexy. And we have to show these people like, hey, listen, dude, if you try to do all this shit just so you can get some of those tails, you could get some of that pussy, dude, this is short lived. Because they want to make it seem like, a lot of these people that are the most vocal, they want to make it seem like intelligent black men are not getting laid, or intelligent black men are not attracted, are not sought after. And this is why there's such a huge there's like a huge venomous attack against those who actually date interracially, because it's the access based on the way you compose yourself, based on what you are about. You not only can attract one type of female, you can attract a variety of female, and then you get your pick. This is I believe this is what SYSBN is about, to be able to, like, to fix yourself mentally, spiritually, financially, right? But also to have those principles which, no matter where you go, no matter which society you go to, then you're not gonna be a fool. You're not gonna be, you have your dignity and your moral intact. You can stand on your own 2 feet with your head held high. This is what we're trying to show this new generation. As for me, the Haitian Americans. But the positive aspect of black society is not being praised, not being advertised. Instead, we have all these knuckleheads that want to tell us what black is. So that's the fight that we're against. Not against black people that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Not against true pro-black such as yourself that are trying to elevate, your fellow black men. Not people like Joe, who actually, adapt a kid that's trying to, do the best that he can to nurture the youngins. The ones that I'm against are the ones that only want to be victims. These are the ones that I want to call out. I want to make sure that the kids that listen to them, so they will know that they're just entertainers. They're only there to make me laugh. That's who they are. And then they have examples of what it is if you actually, you keep your nose clean, you stay out of trouble, um you study hard, and you sacrifice certain pleasure in life for the present so you could have a better future for tomorrow. That's my aim. That's my aim for my people. And that's my aim for those that actually care about. So I know some of the rhetorics could be, well, because I'm Haitian, I'm not African American, then I shouldn't be talking about, affairs of Black Americans. If that's the case, a lot of these people that's talking about interracial datings, they are not in interracial datings. They shouldn't have a say in it neither. But yet they would actually choose to attack me because I am in an interracial dating. Or they would choose to attack those who are in, like, that are married, that are in successful relationship. They will choose to attack them because they themselves are not in a successful relationship. So then, if that was the case, then they shouldn't have a say in that neither. But they have a say in white America. They have a say in interracial dating. They have a say in marriage. They have a say in what it is to be Black. They have a say in a lot of shit. But as soon as you actually talk back and retaliate and then prove the goofiness of their argument, then all of a sudden you shouldn't speak on Black people. You shouldn't speak on ADOS. You shouldn't speak on FBA or whatever acronym you know they want to claim nowadays. You do you see what I'm saying? Like like I said, we gotta talk one of these days, man. So you do have my email, and if you don't, it's arbanaka. I'm gonna drop it off. It's arbanaka@gmail.com. So we can do another live stream. Joe, SKC, and Arthur. You guys were awesome. But anyway, this has been going on long enough. But anyway, my point is this: if we're gonna try to compare where white people are versus where we should be and stuff like that, then we're it's gonna be seem so far ahead, then we're not really gonna ever gonna want to take the first step, or we'll feel frustrated because we might not live to see our people reach their level. However, if we start and actually start comparing ourselves based on where we were 50 years ago, 20 years ago, whatever the case may be, and where we are now, we were going to realize that we made a lot of progress. And those who are the most vocal about white supremacy and whatnot, these are the ones they fear. They fear for the fact that once all this shit gets exposed, once they realize that there isn't as much oppression as they claim to be, then they will lose their power. It's a cry for help for them because we have access to the internet, we have access to knowledge, we have access to a lot of things that we didn't have before. And we are now trying to teach these kids that you don't have to listen to these goofy ass people because they do not represent what Black society is. You are. But anyway, Arbanaka, share, like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Arbanaka. All right, and then subscribe. I'm trying to reach 5,000 subscribers this year, and I need your help for that. All right, so peace.